All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual who's preparing to vie for the PFL 2025 Bantamweight Tournament Championship and does so on August the 15th. And this individual will be stepping into the smart cage to take on Marcirley Alves. And great having Justin Wetzell back on Bowks Talking Bouts after a few years since the last time we chatted. But how are you doing, man? Just curious to see where you're at since we're a mid-fight week and everything, and huge opportunity, etc.
Huge opportunity, man. I'm doing great. Everything's falling in line. Weight's where it needs to be. Had a great camp. I'm ready to close out this 4 month campaign with a World Tournament Championship, baby.
And I saw a post you had, I guess, a few months ago at this point that was centered around your debut, where you were understandably very excited and talking about 15 years in the sport, and you finally got the call to the big leagues, and talking about how, relative to when that post was made, you were making your PFL debut next week in the $500,000 world tournament. And I mean, you talk about what a journey in that context of your broader 15-year experience, but can you speak to the journey within this particular PFL season as you're readying to vie for that tournament title?
Yeah, the journey within the journey, right? Yeah, this has been a wild ride these past 4 months. It's 3 fights in 4 months. It's a grind, man. I got called up on short notice, got thrown right into the fire against the Russian killer, came out on top, and then it's right back into it. You got 8 weeks, you're into the next fight. I won that fight, made it to the finals, and it's another 8 weeks. It's a quick turnaround, man. So your body gets banged up. You go through bumps and bruises with training camps, but that's all part of it, man. And that's a hidden part I think a lot of people don't see is the quick turnarounds. You have to be a warrior to go through this, and the winner of this tournament is a world champion.
Yeah, I mean, in saying that, I would think that you have a certain level of, I guess, appreciation or I guess a mutual understanding of sorts, even with Marcirley Alves, considering what I guess he even went through as well to get to the finals to face you.
Yeah, I mean, he went through two decisions as well. We both have fought for 30 minutes to get to this point. So I know he's got some bumps and bruises and has been banged up a little bit too. So it is what it is, man. It's part of it, but we're both gonna get in there, and I'm gonna win this fight though. I'm gonna be the champion.
And definitely we'll get into the mechanics of that matchup at a later point in the chat, because I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on the last fight, because I felt like that would be like a big moment for you in the sense of it felt like, at least based on a post that I saw, that you came in a bit of a compromised state and still managed to not only defeat a super tough opponent, but have a very dominant showing, no less. So can you kind of speak to that and just everything you took away from that Mando Gutierrez fight in June and everything? It seemed like you would learn a lot from something like that, or it would impart some confidence beating such a tough opponent so thoroughly in a less than ideal state.
Yeah, it was. I had a very, very rough weight cut. I cut weight for about 20 hours, and I won't go into too many details about what happened afterwards, but my body did not recover correctly. And I felt it on fight day, man. I was very sick. I was very like wobbly, dizzy. My equilibrium was not with me, but there was never like a question or doubt in my head if I was going to still fight or get through it. I knew what I had to do, and adrenaline's a pretty powerful drug, man. Because when I got in there, it was one of the easiest fights I've ever had in my life. I didn't even get hit. Sorry, Mondo.
And it's interesting because, I mean, I guess I was kind of tying a bit of this together as you were sort of talking about that. And I guess even the prior point about just the tournament methodology PFL utilizes, bringing out maybe like a different set of considerations in a certain sense. I guess I just say that because it seemed like in your first PFL fight, there was some, I guess, issues with the weight, which, like, fair play. I mean, that was like a short notice kind of turnaround in and of itself. But is there a certain, I guess, meta consideration to the whole weight cutting process, just with these fights being so close to one another, if that distinction makes sense?
Yeah, no, there is, man. When I got the call up on 2 weeks, I was very, very heavy. But like you said earlier, I've been in the minor leagues forever, and when the big league calls you, you can't say no. So I knew what I was in for with the first fight being about like they called me on 2 weeks notice. I was about 30, 33 pounds over. So I knew the challenge I have in front of me. But with that, it's a quick turnaround, right? So you gain all that, most of that weight back, you reload it back. The fight's over. We're 8 weeks out. I'm like 30 pounds pounds over again. So it's kind of been like a fat camp leading up to this point. With that being said, everything's fallen in line more. My weight's in a much better spot. The weight cut's going to be a lot better. I just got called my pants down, man. They called me, and I wasn't quite in the most optimal spot. But like I said, you have to take these fights. These opportunities only come maybe once in your life, and there's no way I was going to say no. I'm willing to die for this. I'm willing to die for the weight cut, man. You better believe I'm willing to die in that damn cage.
Yeah, and you kind of touched upon it again, as I had sort of mentioned earlier on in the conversation too, just like really, I guess, carving your name out on certain regional circuits before getting to this juncture. And the last time we talked was like ahead of your LFA 92 fight that you had towards the end of 2020 against Jordan Mappa. Like, if you could time travel and tell the Justin Wetzell that I spoke to the last time about this opportunity you have coming up with this PFL tournament title and the cash prize, like what do you think their response would be, or your past self's response would be, kind of thing?
Oh man, I feel like I'd be telling myself a lot of things people have already told me, like stay on the course, your time is coming. But myself in the past be like, yeah, sure, man, is it? Is it? Because you hear that from a lot of people, and there's a lot of good fighters similar to myself, man, that haven't made it to the major leagues yet. They're still fighting the regional scene, fighting other killers. Um, it just sometimes things fall in line, man. You get your opportunity, and that's what happened with me finally.
It seems like you really grabbed it with both hands because, yeah, sometimes there are those inexplicable things that you see and whatnot in MMA where it's like this guy is doing such great things on this particular circuit. Why isn't he getting the call up to, fight in this league sort of thing? But yeah, great to hear that, things worked out for you. And yeah, it seems like you very much grabbed this opportunity, by the proverbial horns and whatnot. And I mean, working with someone like, Corey Sandhagen and whatnot, as you have over the years, I mean, that was the case the last time we chatted a few years ago, but I would think that classic adage of iron sharpens iron would very much apply there and everything.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I told you this, but I've told a couple people. When I moved out to Denver, Corey was the very first person I sparred, and he beat the shit out of me. I was like, well, I moved to the right place. There's a lot to learn from here. So, yeah, he's been a phenomenal, pivotal part of my career, man. And what's cool is you're going to see the PFL belt and the UFC belt in the same room in the same year. Let's go.
No, I love that, man. They're going to have to, establish a certain mantle place for a couple straps there and everything like that. And I guess, I mean, since you mentioned it with the fight coming up at UFC 320 with Corey Sandhagen and Merab Dvalishvili, like obviously you would see it going Corey's way, I would imagine, because of the connectivity you guys have had over the years. But I guess, like, how would you see him, I guess, getting that done and hearing that refrain of and new when he has that fight in October?
I could see a Corey Sandhagen flying knee. I'll just leave it at that.
Maybe a little Frankie Edgar action because there has been a bit of a precedent set with that, just to your point.
He's due for one, right? It's been a minute. Yeah, yeah. I think something similar to that, without saying too much.
No, I hear you, man. I mean, that would be certainly massively impressive, especially so in that context that seems like a lot of people are kind of, I guess, positioning Marab in where some people are even saying he's the bantamweight goat in MMA. And I mean, if Corey gets a finish over someone like that, I mean, just what a massive win. I mean, literally, you wouldn't be able to top a win like that if someone, or rather, I guess a few people are kind of discussing him within that bantamweight goat conversation, speaking to Dvalishvili.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, man, but he's super beatable. Anyone in this sport is beatable. And how many times has it happened where somebody wins a title? It's like this guy's never losing, and then one or two challengers down the road, they lose, they get knocked out. It's like, oh, actually, everyone's beatable. It's just a matter of time, man.
Yeah, I think one of the wilder ones for me, anecdotally, was when I first saw Fedor lose. Like, it just really wasn't computing in my brain. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was a high school kid at the time, and yeah, it just really blew my mind. But yeah, the sport very much does create those moments for sure.
Yeah, I remember that too against Fabricio in Strikeforce, man. Yeah, I think I was like 19 or 20. I was fresh out of high school too, or like yeah, out of high school.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, such a massive moment and everything like that. But I did kind of, I guess, reference your opponent, Marcirley Alves's road heading into this tournament final and just the respect that you have for anyone that would be able to have those quick turnaround fights and just get to this sort of juncture and everything. But I guess with like the X's and O's of, I guess, his skill set or just resume in general throughout his MMA career, like what are your thoughts on Marcirley Alves as you head into this high stakes fight with him?
He's a beast, dude. That dude's terrifying. You see his last fight? I was there cage side. I heard the body punches landing, man. He's a scary fighter. That being said, dude, I got to go in there. I got to take him out. And that's what I'm going to do. I just got done doing interviews, man. I saw that gold belt. I held it, took some photos with it. I am not leaving here without that, man. The prize money's cool. Prize money can change your life, but money comes and goes. The first PFL Bantamweight champion lives on forever.
Yeah, is that a certain important piece to you? I mean, it would seem like it based on how you laid it out, I guess just like the historical component of cementing yourself in that kind of a spot and everything, like leaving that legacy stamp, I suppose.
Yeah, dude. No, like I just said, like money comes and goes. Like, you can win 500K and it can be gone within a month. It can be gone tomorrow. But the title, that is immortalized. That can never be taken away from you ever. That means way more to me, man.
Yeah, and based on how you're, I guess, kind of laying things out, I would imagine that you would even allocate a certain amount of that prize money if you get your ideal outcome and everything. Like maybe you would just kind of funnel it back into the training anyway, just to kind of, keep the train on the tracks, as it were.
Yeah, sure. I mean, put it back into myself, but I haven't really thought about that, man. All I care about is winning this title and winning that belt.
Is there a certain something to, I mean, you even mentioned the pre fight component of like taking photos with the belt and stuff like that. Like, I imagine there's a certain level of, I guess, visualization, perhaps even leading into the fight as far as like what that moment getting crowned with the gold might look like. But does that get compounded even further now that you're in fight week and you're taking those kind of photos where you're actually holding the physical hardware and all that?
I think about a little more, man, but there's no added pressure. There's no added pressure or anything. That being said, being around it, taking pictures with it, it just makes me want it even more.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what even I was thinking, just in the sense of like further, I guess, visualizing it or feeling like the moment is more, I guess, tangible and stuff like that and whatnot. I guess even in saying that, like, do you find your fight week mindset is, I guess, even more additionally locked in? I mean, you're obviously very dedicated and focused across your training from what I can tell and everything like that. But is there a certain, I guess, extra gear or even slightly different kind of localized consideration to being in fight week and it being just days away sort of thing?
Not really, man. Like I told you earlier, I'm not putting any added pressure on myself with this. Do I want like seeing it and all that? Yeah, like it intensifies like how much I want it, but I'm not putting anything extra on it as in like any pressure or nothing, man. It's not just another fight, but it's just another fight, man. It's just the biggest fight.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I've been running Fight Club in high school for, a little bit now, like back in the day. Like I've been in this, fisticuffs game for a little bit now.
Been around, man. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit higher than that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's cool how far it's come.
I guess partially, and even bringing that up, like it would seem like MMA would have always been on your radar. I guess, like, was that something like when you were in high school, kind of curating that Fight Club and everything? Like, was this, I guess, position you're in now, kind of what you saw as like your, I guess, ultimate form of self in a certain regard, or like, I guess, even a thing you wanted to aspire to? Like, I guess I'm asking, was like that MMA focus like always in there from, I guess, that particular juncture? Like, I guess, when was the seed planted for being pursuant of that?
Yeah, when I beat up one of my childhood bullies in one of those Fight Club events, beat him up and there was blood everywhere. His face was fucked up and that feeling of like winning, man, I've been chasing it ever since. So yeah, this has always been the plan, man. World champion. World champion, dude.
Yeah, it's cool to still see you breaking out the power scouter a fair bit because like I referenced that when we chatted years ago and good to see that broken out every now and again. And I assume a lot of other Dragon Ball Z fans out there in the MMA world would also be enjoying that similar kind of thing and everything. So yeah, just love to see that.
Gotta stand out, brother. Gotta.
And I guess I was kind of I don't. I guess even saying that, I guess like the obligatory kind of like stock question. I wasn't even intending to ask this, but just naturally kind of came to my mind. Like it seems like Marcirley Alves has a fairly high power level per your earlier assessment. Like, is that a fair way to characterize it? Like one of the higher power levels you've encountered, kind of thing.
Hey man, when you get to the big leagues, everyone's here. Everyone here, their power's off the charts, man. Mine's just gonna be higher. I'm just gonna be better, baby.
And it just seems like a great time to be part of PFL. Like it really seems like that global expansion effort has been a big part of what they're doing just with the Europe circuits and Africa and MENA and stuff like that, and the position that even you are specifically in at this point. So yeah, I mean, is that a sentiment you share as well? Just in the sense of it seems like an exciting time to be a part of the PFL roster as a fighter and everything.
Yeah, it's super cool how they're expanding and they have different leagues, man. And once I win this belt, I want to fight the champions of the other leagues to show that I'm the best bantamweight in PFL, period.
It's kind of funny because this was another, I guess, thing I wasn't even intending to ask per se, but my brain kind of just conjured the thought, I suppose, because I did see a recent post where Don Davis was mentioning that he had offered Chatri an idea for like a champions versus champions kind of event. Like, what would your, I guess, thoughts be on something like that? I would think that something like that would excite you per what you kind of just said there.
Yeah, that'd be sick, man. I'll be the lineal champ across the board. I mean, I believe in my heart I can beat Merab, bro. I can beat anyone.
I guess the one piece would be kind of interesting too, just in terms of like where it would take place or what rule set would be utilized for the fight. But that would be an exciting concept all the same.
Yeah, I like the collab fights or the co-promotion fights. Those are sick.
Yeah, no doubt, man. A lot of fun things, and chief among them is this Marcirley Alves fight coming up. And super appreciate you making time to talk during fight week, as I had kind of mentioned before, and great getting to I guess catch up again after, like I said, a few years since the last time we kind of got to talk. But I do also want to be mindful of your time too, Justin. So in saying that, is there perhaps like a final parting thought you might want to add as we're kind of wrapping things up here? I appreciate you coming on the show today.
No, not really, man. Thanks for doing this, giving me the time. I've got to hit a few more interviews, but let's get this shit. Let's win the world championship, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, and you have a chance to do that on August 15th. I'll be checking out that PFL event and see what transpires with this Bantamweight Tournament Championship. Two excellent fighters with yourself and Marcirley Alves throwing down. But again, thanks for coming on Bowks Talking Bouts, Justin. I'll be peeping the fight when it goes down, man. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, and thanks so much for the insights.
All right, brother. Have a good day.